Welcome, friends. Welcome to today's Reconsider It live stream. Best live stream you're gonna see all day. And here on this live stream, you are gonna get a very nice hour of some improvised beat making here on these RC505 loop stations, using only my voice to do stuff with. How do I do it? How do I make the loopers make it sound all nice? It's called 505 beat making. My regulars know what it is. If you are new to the Reconsider It live streams, welcome! You made the right decision joining us. We want you here. Right now, my friends, we are in a warm-up phase. We are just getting ourselves acclimated getting the blood flowing and comfortable. And here in this warm-up phase, my friends, I need to celebrate. I need to celebrate Thank you for being here. Whether you are here with us live in the chat, as is the man himself, Trusto, or you are here with us live, but you are not in the chat, or you are here with us after the stream, you are watching on replay. However it is that you are here with us, I am going to celebrate you at this time in this way. I have my drink. I'm going to count to 3. I'm going to clink the screen. You are invited to join the rest of us as we cheers along and celebrate our togetherfulness. And it all begins, my friends, on 1. Whoa. This is really good. 2. The count up is underway, and boy, is it very satisfying when it reaches 3. Clink. Cheers, my friends. Oh man, that's good. Please like this video. Please subscribe. I could use some subs. Friends, we have got a 505 beatmaking stream on our hands. What a thorough blessing this is. My regulars know how these streams go. What is a 505 beatmaking stream? How is it unique among other Reconsiderate live streams? Well, here on the 505 beatmaking stream, it's all about the technical details of the loopers. I do these streams because I've heard multiple people ask for it. They say, talk about what you're doing. How are you doing that? What does that mean when you're doing this thing? So these streams are meant to be useful for you. I invite you as much as you like to let me know here live in the chat what you need or what is interesting or how did I do that or what if this. Also, if you're watching after the stream, to let me know in the comments, what is it that you would want to see a little bit more of? What did I gloss over? And you say, wait, that wasn't enough. Tell me more about that thing there. Tell me that stuff so I can make these streams as useful as possible for you. Whether you are thinking about getting one of these loopers and you're like, oh, could I make beats? I don't know, how's he even doing that? I'm giving you an example today of something you might try to do. You could maybe rent one of these things. Some places let you rent. And then you try some of the stuff that I show you today. And you'll see that the answer is you indeed can. you can do this stuff. Because I'm not doing anything special. It's mostly the loopers. And I'm showing you the settings. This also is useful if you're already a 505 artist and you just want to see, you know, like another approach. You'll get my approach, at least to this beat. These streams are also good if you like, if you're just a, you know, a hardware kind of person and you like technical details of things. Perhaps most persuasively of all, though, these streams are great even if you just like me. So, we got some 505 beat making to do. And as always, I start with the percussion. How did I make this percussion? Well, I use my lower looper. So let's go there. My lower looper. This one is the Mark I, the original model. I used this one for a number of years. 5 or 6 years, something like that. I used to play a lot of live shows with it. It was a good device, and it still is a good device. When we get to the Mark II, the top looper later, there's a lot of cool features that one has. Nowadays, I use my Mark I only for percussion-related things. Or other things that don't need to be tuned. Now this kick is where I started, this beat. Usually that's where I begin. And I'm not doing anything special here in terms of like some really dope acapella kick drums. This is just me going like, that's it. But it sounds different going through the looper. So how did I do that? Well, it started... Oops. You can stack multiple input effects in the upper left here. So I do the EQ as my first, in this case, for this particular drum. That's what I usually do anyway, too. EQ with a small boost in the low end, mostly flat otherwise, a small boost in the low medium, I think it is. But it's mostly flat. That EQ then I pass into a vocal distortion. So the distortion is what gives it the, you know, like crackly, crispy quality. And I have two channels, two layers that are kick drums. One that's the more kind of like driving, intense one, then the one that's more sparse and chill. They are both positioned slightly left and right, not drastically. Slightly left and right. This one is slightly to the right. This one is slightly to the left. And their position is slightly to the left and right of center. So that's it. That's how I made those. I just do this like on my end. Going through the looper, EQ, vocal distortion. Ta-da. But now, Now there's this like shaker type of layer. This is the same EQ and vocal distortion. And this is just me going. That's it. Do a couple layers of it. The loopers let you do multiple overlays or overdubs, I think they're called. I had put a little bit of a delay on this. Output effects are in the upper right. And I just put on, you can put up to 3 output effects. So I put one, the delay. And this has a very, very short, only 23 milliseconds. So it gives it that like metallic reverb sense. So that's it for the drums. There's nothing else that I've built so far, although I do have the extra 2 channels that I need to build out here, and I may as well do those now. I've got the two kick drum layers. I have one of these shaker layers far to the right, or farthest out of my layers. I'm going to do another shaker hi-hat layer that's going to be more of a steady pulse, steady metronome. That'll be on the farther to the left to match the one that's farthest to the right. And then there's still the one that's panned to the center that's going to be like a snare clap type of thing. That's just going to be going. That's it. I'll do those now. Those additional layers in there. The more steady shaker layer, more of a metronome type of thing. Then the clap layer here. right now in the chat. Trusto says he's busting out some push-ups. All right, now we're talking. As he listens here to this tune and tutorial, to these tunes. I hope, Trusto, that you're doing push-ups for the entire hour straight. Just nothing but push-ups the whole time. That'd be good. Speaking of push-ups, you ever use one of these things? These perfect push-up handles, they're called, quote unquote. It's like a brand perfect push-up. But when you do it, it lets you move your arm. So you do these like twists and get different angles with your muscles all the way up through your shoulder as you do the push-up. I guess you can't see on the camera what I'm doing. Like a different angle with your arm as you do the push-up because these things rotate. You ever done that before? I like those things. Trusto says, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, those are nice. So we got this percussion and we got this bass up here. You know everything about the percussion that I'm doing. I told you every part of it. But this bass line, how did I do that? This is on the top looper. Top looper is the Mark II. That's the second generation. It has a lot of additional features. One of the additional features is that it allows you to tune your input in a snap tuning kind of way. So this bass line you hear is not me having some kind of really awesome deep singing voice where I'm like, That's not what's happening. When I did this bass line, it's just me going like do 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 or whatever I did here. Something like that. But the looper makes it sound like a bass line. So how did I do that? That's what we're talking about. That's what this stream is all about. Trusto says he loves those perfect push-up things. Takes them to work with him. I like to take my band, I have an elastic. I don't know what kind of elastic it is, but it's like an exercise band where you can get different thickness. They're different, resistance levels. I bring that to my office, and I can do that. Stop for a couple minutes and just exercise with that. That's a good one. I use that at home too, but that's just really easy to transport to work. So this bass line, how did I do this bass line? Well, the top looper, in addition to features like tuning and such, it allows you to put more input effects. The bottom looper only lets you put 3 input effects. Still good. I'll take it. It's still good. Bottom looper's still good. I'm still using it. But the top looper lets you put 4 input effects at a time. And it lets you save multiple instruments in a single configuration. We're going to talk about my bass line. That's one of the instruments that I've built, that I pre-configured with all these input effects. And I have 3 others that we're going to be doing as we go through the stream today. But the bass line, how did I make this one? This one is made as follows. Starts with an effect called guitar to bass, which is exactly what it sounds like. It just drops it a few octaves, and if you plugged in a guitar and played it, it would sound like you're playing a bass. Guitar to bass. So that's the main thing that makes my crummy off-key singing sound like a bass line, a guitar to bass. That's the first input effect. The order you put them in makes a difference. So guitar to bass. Guitar to bass being the first one, then passed into the electric, which is the tuner. That's the thing that makes it into a, where are we? Here we are, okay. A B major, yes, yes, this is so good. What I'm doing here with the camera, this is so skillful, oh my goodness. A B major, right. So that's the electric. Guitar to bass, to drop it into a bass. Electric, to make it tuned to B major. Then I passed it into a sustainer, which is a compressor. These are all straightforward settings. There's little knobs in there you would fiddle with that are very straightforward to play with. So again, guitar to bass, electric, sustainer, and then on this one I put a reverse reverb. Not a lot, but I'll stop talking and you can hear it most when the bass stops. Yeah. So that's it. That's that bass line. Or bass instrument, rather. If you were trying to replicate what I did or improve upon it, P.S., you would be able to improve upon it pretty easily. It's guitar to bass, electric, sustainer, reverse reverb. That's the bass line. But then in addition to the bass line, there's this other thing. Whatever this is. So what is this thing? Okay. Here's what this thing is. First of all, it's another one of my duplicate layers. You know already how I have 2 kick layers. There's this one. Then there's this other one, the more sparse one. You also know how I have 2 shaker layers. There's this one, which is more of like a jagged, it follows the kick. There's that shaker, the jagged one that follows the kick. Then there's the metronome shaker. So there's a couple duplicate layers. And now this layer here, this sound, this is another one of my duplicate layers. I made 2 layers from the same instrument. They're slightly to the left and right, panned, and slightly to the left and right physically on the looper. Bass line is to the center, it's center panned. So this duplicate layer here, what is this made of? It starts with a distortion. The distortion is another one of the areas where there's a big leap of enhancement from the Mark I up to the Mark II. The distortion is what I use to make the drums, you may recall, from earlier in the stream. I've used an EQ passed into a distortion, a vocal distortion, in the lower looper. That's what makes the drums more like edgy sounding. In the top looper, there are 6 different kinds of distortions, which is like, hooray! They're of varying intensity, and most of the settings, going from the Mark I up to the Mark II, most of the settings that carry over, like distortion. You get new knobs to play with. It's pretty fun. You can adjust the way things sound a little. In any case, the distortion is what this sound you're hearing now is built primarily out of. It's the very first one over here. And there's 6 different types of distortion. In this case, it was, coincidentally, a subtype of vocal. So it's the vocal distortion. It's one of the lower levels of intensity of distortion. You can hear that like edgy crackliness in it. So that's the first one, the distortion, subtype vocal. Then that's passed into the electric. Electric is, again, the tuner that makes it, in this case, B flat. And then passed into an auto harmonizer, which is awesome. It has a really cool effect. It just creates a like duplicate layer, sound layer, that either is in unison in terms of the tone, or it's a little higher or a little lower. This one is a little higher. I don't know exactly what that means. Is that like a third or a fifth? I'm not sure exactly what that means. It just says high, higher octave, low, lower octave. So I'm not sure what that means exactly. This one is set to high. So that's the first 3. Distortion, subtype vocal, electric to make it tuned, the auto harmonizer, which is a little high in this point, and then finally the tremolo, which you can hear that pretty clearly. You can hear the sort of choppiness. Sort of like a wavy choppiness to it. That's the tremolo. I've also heard a little bit of delay. You can hear I'm putting it on here. Take it off. It's cleaner. Now it's got more of a delay on it. That's another way that the Mark II, the top looper, has improvements. The bottom looper only has one kind of delay, one kind of reverb. And you can control things like how long is the reverb and all that. how long is the delay, that kind of thing. So it's good. It's a good delay. It's a good reverb. Yes, but there's one type of each. On the top looper, there's multiple delays, multiple reverbs. This happens to be a plain vanilla delay that I'm putting on it right now. It's just at a very short period, the 23 milliseconds, like the bottom looper has a delay on it. It gives it this metallic edge kind of thing. You hear that, like, what's the word? Flanger or flange. You can almost hear that. It's a very, very tight delay. We talked about that earlier in the stream. There it is again here. The edginess to it. I had that same 23 milliseconds on the top looper here. On a plain vanilla delay. That's only applying to the distortion tremolo layer here. The bass does not have the output effects applying to it. Since the button here, going across the top button, it's only orange on these other layers. Orange, 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 orange. But the bass here is not, it's not lit up. So that button controls whether output effects are applied to that layer. And now that you are fully caught up on the percussion, fully caught up on the top looper with its bass line and this other layer, whatever you call it. That means we can turn our attention now to these other unused layers here on the far left and far right, which are panned far left and far right, and they will use the remaining 2 instruments that I have not yet used on this live stream. The top looper lets you save 4 instruments. You learned about the bass line. You learned about this other distortion layer, whatever exactly you would call this. And now there's 2 more. So what are these 2 additional layers? Or 2 instruments, rather. 2 additional instruments. So I'm going to describe this one first before I use it. Then I'm going to use it. And then I'm going to come back and talk about it again. Here's what this instrument is made of. It starts with a preamp. A preamp, like, is a strong boost that also does a little bit of distortion, a little bit of overdrive, a little bit of destruction of the sound. So that's the preamp. It keeps a largely pure signal, but it's mostly, or rather I should say, it sustains and preserves the initial signal a lot, but then it also does a fair amount of distortion and destruction and such. That's a preamp. That's the initial signal. Cool. The initial input effect, rather. From that, I pass that into electric. That's the tuner. I pass that into a synth, which I generally describe as useful in the same way you would use a piece of brass, like a trumpet. So we'll see how that goes. Trumpet type of influence upon this. And then finally that's passed into a reverse reverb. Nice. So, that's it. Preamp, electric, synth, reverse reverb. I'm going to go off a speaking mic, and I'm going to go onto the instrument mic. I'm going to play around with this instrument. I'm going to record a loop. Man, it is going to be so good. You're going to be like, wow, the amount of goodness is a large amount. got that new instrument there, or that new layer there. I'm gonna let it play again, but for now it's preamp, electric, synth, reverse reverb. Whoa, not 5. That's this. So that's pretty good. I'm happy with that one. I see in the chat right now that symptoms of reality has joined us. And also, Trusto says, strongly suggest you do a beginner class. Tell me more about what kind of content you would like discovered, or you would like to be covered at the beginner class. Does that mean like from the moment you unbox it and like settings for each loop and things like that so that it loops however? Yeah, I guess I don't talk a lot about loop settings, like how long a loop is. I have discussed it from a high level, but I haven't gone into like where to do it and such. In the past couple of months, I've been talking on and off about how I am considering getting a second Mark II looper so that I would have 2 Mark IIs. Because my bottom looper is having issues, a couple technical issues, and to get it repaired would cost less than getting another Mark II, but I might as well just get another Mark II at that point. And I am still considering that as one of my non-urgent back burner things that I probably will get to in the next 300 million years. But my point being that when I do eventually get the Mark II, that will be like I will be unboxing that, and I'll be like, oh right, there's all of these like fundamental settings that I set, you know, maybe once ever back when I first got this, and I'm forgetting that you have to configure this thing like this. That's very real. When I do these streams, I do kind of jump in assuming that your looper's already set up and you're just trying to make sound effects. That's mostly what I've been doing thus far. But this is good feedback for me that maybe I need to make it more of a... Maybe I need to make like a... Yeah, I guess, what did you call it? A beginner's class? Yeah, beginner's class. Trusto says, my Mark II still glitches out and corrupts my save loops. See, that happened to me. This is actually the second Mark II that I've owned. The first one I got like almost immediately when it was released. I think within a month or something of when it was released. I at least ordered mine. It was during the pandemic, if I recall correctly. And that first one that I ordered was way broken. It was constantly corrupting everything. It would stop in the middle of a song. It would delete loops in the middle of a song. It was really weird. It would go into a crashed state. So it was not awesome. And I kept talking with the guy who... Or not the guy, but the organization, the company that sold it to me. And I'm like, hey, I'm doing all this stuff. I did the system updates. I tried this. I tried that. It just keeps on. What's going on? And eventually they're like, let me just replace this. So they gave me a second one, and that's this. This is the second one that I got. And this one I've not had issues with. There have been like more than 0 ever. Oh, boy, let's see. Let's say something like 4 years. It's over 4 years, but I don't know how much over. So let's say like 4+ years that I've been using this device, and there's been maybe like, what, 2 or 3, 5, I don't know, moments when there's been some kind of weird system failure kind of thing. But other than those very rare isolated incidents over the past 4+ years, I've never had any technical issues with the top one. It does seem to have an issue saving when the MIDI is plugged in. It's inconsistent whether it can save or not. So that's the only persisting issue, but that's presumably related to the MIDI in some way I don't understand, rather than the looper itself. Trusto says, well, if mine is still glitching then, does that mean I need a new one? I don't know. That was the only thing that fixed my original one, which constantly glitched out and errored out and everything. So if you're seeing this persistent problem and you've done all the system updates, I mean, if you've not done all the system updates, start there. Do all the system updates. But if it's still glitching out, then it could be a hardware problem. The reason I tell my story is that I think, I mean, I guess I shouldn't say I think. This is more like a baseless speculation. This isn't even really a theory based in anything. My baseless speculation is that during the pandemic, when I got my looper, my original looper, that there was just whatever supply chain issues, and I got a device that was just made with either inferior components or lacking components, or it was somehow assembled wrong, or whatever it was. I suspect that's what was going on. There was some kind of like hardware problem, or maybe multiple pieces weren't really the best pieces. And it's also even possible that the initial firmware on the initial release was rushed out and it had bugs in it. So I guess to boil down what I'm saying specifically for Trusto, if you got yours like many years ago, like I did, in 2020 or I don't know, maybe early 2021 or something, if you've had yours since then, it's totally possible that you have some kind of hardware issue like I did. My replacement one has been fine though, and I'm pretty sure I had this since I don't know, late 2020 or maybe early to mid 2021. Trusto says, yeah, I've done everything, referring to the system updates. I've done everything, and it's like, it's to this point that I don't even want to use it anymore. And then he says also that I did indeed get it early when it first came out. Yeah, you might have the same problem I had with my first looper. That might actually be true. I don't know if it was supply chain issues or what, but or just being rushed out, because it did seem to be rushed out. A lot of people had these kinds of problems. There's a couple Facebook groups actually about dedicated to users who have a 505 MK2, and they talk about this kind of stuff. So yes, you may have a faulty piece of hardware. Now, what I notice about this loop here, or this beat that we're rocking out to, which is very rockin', I might add. This is about the rockinest thing that I'm probably going to hear all day, I think. There's also one more available loop that I need to fill in here. And this one's going to be fun. This is one of my personal favorites. So this one is twice as long as everything else, twice as long as the bass line and this other layer here, which is a little more stretched out than the rest of it. My different loops are different, my different layers and different loops, I guess, are different lengths. That's what I mean to say. The kick drum is different length from the bass line and so on. But the bass line is the longest, and this other layer you're hearing, this is also of the same length as the bass line. They are the longest, they're 8 bars long. But this new loop that I'm about to make, this is going to be 16 bars long, and that's because it's going to have a very fun instrument that I use to build it with. Here's how this next one, you haven't heard this yet on this stream. Here's how this next one's built. This next instrument that I built ahead of time. It's built out of a preamp. Once again, the preamp, which is a sort of like a distorted boost. The preamp fed into the electric. Preamp, electric, the tuner. Then a modular delay, which is, you know, a type of delay. And then passed into a roll 1. The roll 1 is the part I love, and I can't get enough of it. I could do it on, well, maybe that's a bit of an exaggeration. I wouldn't do it on every track. The roll has this like repeated stuttering echo thing. Oh, I love it so much. You'll know what I mean as soon as I switch over and start using it. So we're doing preamp, electric, modular delay, roll 1. I'm gonna go off the speaking mic, go into the instrument mic. Let's do it. like that layer so much. That instrument. Once again, preamp, electric, modular delay, roll 1. I'm going to bring it back in now. good. What a good beat we have built here on this 505 Beatmaking stream. This is good stuff. If you think about like stuff, like all stuff, just stuff. You think about stuff, and then there's like, then there's good stuff. There's stuff that's good. Stuff, but then there's good stuff. This is good stuff. like this video. Please subscribe. I could use some subs. Thank you for being here today. It's so much better with you here. I hope to see you in the next live stream. My regulars know that there is a variety of flavors of live stream here available on Reconsider It's Music Sketchpad. Here today, we did the upper right. We did the upper right, 505 Beatmaking, where we build a beat and I explain what I'm doing on the loopers. Really great for those technical details. Join us again for 505 Beatmaking. In the lower right, we've got Tinkering in the Studio, where I build up a beat and I bring in the synthesizer and I talk with you about whatever comes up in the chat. Man, it's the everything stream. Anything can happen on Tinkering in the Studio. In the lower left, we got Unspoken. Unspoken is where I build up a beat, bring in the synthesizer, but no talking at all. Not a word from start to finish. Perfect for all your instrumental needs. I will see you at Unspoken. In the upper left, we got Loops and Chill. Loops and Chill is like it looks like a rehearsed, well put together performance. But it's not. It's all improvised. Everything, the beat, how I play the beat, everything's improvised. Join us for Loops and Chill. And whichever live stream it is that I see you at next time, please, until then, please have a very good, a very excellent and uplifting rest of your day today. Please let the rest of your day today bring you all manner of healing and goodness. Please let the rest of your day today open up the doorway or the pathway or the window or whatever the symbolism might be that is effective for you. Please allow an opening to emerge today that will take you to new levels, new depths of your own healing and renewedness today. Please let all of that begin for you today. Let the opening just crack open, the little vortex begin to spin for you within today. Please be honester with yourself today. Please allow yourself to be more honester with yourself today. Please become more humbler today. Please recognize your own place receptive today. And I will see you in the next Reconsider It live stream.